At the top of the hour, we told you about a man accused of trying to kidnap an elementary student during recess who won't now face criminal charges, at least anytime soon.
34-year-old Solomon Galligan has been found incompetent to stand trial, so a judge must dismiss the case. It has to do with a change to the law that Denver 7 investigative reporter Natalie Chuck has spent the last year covering. All right, Natalie's in the studio with us. So you've been reaching out to parents at Black Forest Hills Elementary about exactly how they feel about this, and I think we can all guess how they feel about it.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's no surprise, you guys, but yeah, none of them that I've spoken with are happy to hear that this case will be being dropped. Some called it a shortcoming by Colorado's legal system that a person can walk right onto a field at a school, try to take a child, and face no criminal consequences. Now, the father I talked to today actually found out about the charges being dismissed from watching the news, and now he is asking for change.
I thought it was going to be a slam dunk, open and shut.
The case Dante White is talking about will be shut, but not how he expected.
My son comes home from school and he tells us, hey, this guy tried to take me and my friends.
This surveillance video released last year shows the moment a suspect walked onto this field at Black Forest Hills Elementary School. They lunge at a student trying to kidnap a boy, eventually tripping and walking off. 34-year-old Solomon Galligan was arrested a few hours later. White says his son ended up getting therapy after what happened.
And there was a time frame that him and a lot of the other children too wouldn't leave our sides. He's confused as to why this person is being set free. He's like, that makes zero sense.
Court records we requested show this legal process has been riddled with competency evaluation after competency evaluation. Even though Galligan was found competent in April, the defense got a second opinion. Galligan was eventually found incompetent, meaning mentally unfit to stand trial. This is not the first time we've seen this. In fact, this is the third case in about 9 months Denver 7 Investigates has covered where a defendant facing serious charges is having them dropped. A law changed in Colorado in the summer of 2024 requiring judges to dismiss cases when defendants are found incompetent and not restorable. We sat down with Senator Judy Amabile, one of the main sponsors of the bill last fall.
You cannot just hold somebody in jail for the rest of their life if they're not able to stand trial. That is a constitutional right.
It's short-sighted, right? Passes, it doesn't have funding behind it. There's no mechanism to actually make sure that things happen in an appropriate nature. It's kind of a free-for-all.
In this case, the district attorney's office insists Galligan will be admitted to a mental health hospital. The court documents show what's known as a short-term certification for treatment was granted. But for White, this is an issue in need of a long-term fix.
This isn't a left and right issue. This is a systemic issue. We need to go back and reevaluate this because obviously it's not working. This isn't the only case where something like this has happened.
And he's right, it's not the only case, not even for Galligan. This defendant has had other cases dismissed throughout the state, including another under the same DA's office for harassment earlier this year because of an incompetent finding.
And Natalie, the DA's office is telling you, as well as that parent, that Galligan is going to be admitted to a mental health hospital, but you found that in your reporting that may be harder than people think.
Yeah, and not to say that this is going to happen in this case, because it does seem like everything is moving along in the court process to get this defendant into a hospital, but we have previously covered a case back in October, the first case we looked at, where the defendant, who was accused of trying to stab a doctor in his office, was going to have all of those charges dropped, and there was not a bed available for the judge to civilly commit this defendant to. You know, he said in court when we were there, I can't send someone where there is no bed. Now, after we started getting cameras in the courtroom, a bed did open up at the state hospital. And then there's also the question of just how long people can be admitted to these hospitals. It starts off on 3 months, then can be extended to 6, and then a maximum of 12, you guys. So it's still up in the air to see how long this specific individual might be off of the streets. For Denver 7 Investigates, I'm Natalie Chuck.
All right, Natalie, thank you very much for your work on that. And Denver 7 has extensively covered competency issues in Colorado courts over the past few months. As Natalie mentioned, we first brought you the story of Dr. Scott Green. Later, we introduced you to the Bowman family, who lost their mother and suffered serious injuries in a car accident in 2021 caused by a drunk driver. So I encourage you to scan that QR code on the bottom of your screen. By the way, that driver also had his case dismissed despite objections from prosecutors because he suffered from a brain injury in that accident and was also deemed incompetent. So find our Complexity in Competency series online on denver7.com/investigates. And we promise we will continue to follow this topic.